From the CBS Bay Area studios, this is KPIX 5 News.
Welcome back to KPIX 5 this morning. The time now is almost 6:30. I'm Devin Fehely.
And I'm Jackie Ward. Melissa Kane is off this morning. She is one of thousands running in the San Francisco Marathon. She's doing a half. I don't know which route, but
Kaiser Permanente workers may be on the brink of the largest U.S. labor strike in 2 decades. More than 80,000 employees have been working without a contract since September. Now, talks broke down earlier this month. Workers want more money, better benefits, and a solid plan to combat staff shortages. Voting to authorize the strike begins tomorrow at Kaiser Medical Center in Oakland.
several cities in the Bay Area are getting an infusion of cash to combat car break-ins. It's a new push being led by one Bay Area lawmaker who hopes to drive down the crime. Assemblyman Kansan Chu of San Jose hopes the extra money, nearly $4 million in all, $750,000 for San Jose, Santa Clara, Milpitas, Fremont, and Newark, will help put the brakes on car break-ins. Assemblyman Chu was able to convince lawmakers to dip into the state's surplus, freeing up money for education programs and extra officers to battle what he describes as an epidemic of car break-ins.
We want to address the issue from the prevention side and also provide the PD some additional funding.
I think a lot more needs to be done at the state level to make sure that when we catch criminals, they actually get some punishment.
Assemblyman Chu says he hopes he can use data to convince his fellow lawmakers that it is a worthwhile investment and that the funding should continue next year as well.
Now to some tense protests in Hong Kong. Right now, thousands of pro-democracy demonstrators are back out on the streets. It comes less than 24 hours after a string of violent clashes with police.
You know, up until this point, the police were handling the situation quite well. This was absolute utter madness.
Riot police have launched tear gas at protesters for the second day in a row. Today's protests are happening in 2 places, outside the Chinese government's liaison office in the west and a shopping hotspot in the east. Demonstrators are defying a police ban to take to the streets. The protests began against a now suspended extradition bill. Pleasanton fire crews are still working to knock down a grass fire. It is burning off of Bernal Avenue near Mirador Drive. Officials say it first broke out about 9 o'clock last night. New estimates show just 4 acres burned, down from the original estimate of 40 acres. No injuries or damaged structures have been reported, and the cause remains under investigation. In southern Santa Clara County, a close call in San Martin when a house fire spread to some nearby trailers and brush. It started around 9:30 yesterday morning on Center Avenue. Firefighters had it contained by noon. One person was hospitalized for smoke inhalation. No word yet on how that fire started.
San Mateo police have made 7 arrests in connection with a wild gun battle outside of a bar. 6 men and a woman were arrested on Thursday. Police say 6 of those 7 suspects are from Oakland. They face various assault and weapons charges. This all stems from a gunfight last month outside Club Shoreview on South Norfolk Street. San Mateo police say dozens of shots were fired June 23rd. A bystander was the only person hurt, and that person's injury was minor.
2 Bay Area teenagers are in custody this morning in Rome. They're accused of killing an Italian police officer who was investigating a drug-related theft. Now, both of the arrested teenagers are 19. Both of them graduated from Tamalpais High School in Mill Valley last year. Investigators say the pair have confessed to their involvement in the stabbing. People we spoke to who know the suspect say they are not too surprised by their alleged roles in the murder of the Italian policeman. KPIX 5's Betty Yu has the story.
We are getting our first look at the suspects, both 19 years old. They were vacationing in Rome. Finnegan Elder is from San Francisco. Gabriel Natali Horth is from Mill Valley. This was the crime scene on Friday. Italian investigators say the teens bought what they thought was cocaine in Rome. When they found out the white powder was fake, police say the 2 Bay Area teens roughed up the seller and took his backpack. The police got involved and tried to retrieve the bag. They say that's when one of the 2 teens stabbed the officer 8 times, killing him. Italian authorities say the 35-year-old officer had just gotten married last month and returned to work from his honeymoon. A tribute to Officer Rega has been growing at a Rome street corner.
I've known Finn since he was born, and I'm in shock. He's the nicest guy, one of the nicest neighbors.
Most neighbors know Finnegan Elder as Finn. He played football for Sacred Heart High School in San Francisco and later transferred to and graduated from Tamalpais High.
My vision of Finn, and I don't see him doing that.
Another neighbor tells us Elder was a troublemaker and had gotten drunk and thrown up in front of their home. The Elder family released a statement expressing their condolences to the family of the police officer. They also say, "We are shocked and dismayed at the events that have been reported, but have very little independent information about these events. We have not been able to have any communication with our son."
I've kind of always known that he's a bit of a bad guy.
This Tamalpais High student is talking about the second suspect, Gabriel Natali.
He would come up in stories of just like activities you wouldn't want your kids getting into, so he's kind of been known around town as like a sort of delinquent character.
According to a school website, Natali played on the lacrosse team. His family in Mill Valley declined to comment on the story.
Audacity of going and doing that in another country is frightening. But I just think it's disgusting to kill a police officer when they're keeping everyone safe.
That report was from Betty U. Italian police say that the young men were ready to leave Italy the same day. Authorities found the murder weapon along with a long knife hidden inside the ceiling tile of their hotel room. They also found clothes worn during the attack. In Sonoma County, the town of Cotati hadn't had a homicide in 24 years until a long-standing feud between two neighbors ended in gunfire. The victim, 67-year-old Patrick Leonard, was shot and killed in a garage on Robin Avenue Friday night. Investigators say he'd been involved in a heated argument with his neighbor, 68-year-old Joseph Rossi. Rossi was arrested at the scene. Investigators also recovered a gun in Rossi's home. They're now testing it to see if it's the murder weapon.
This morning, thousands of runners will take part in the annual San Francisco Marathon. Here's a look at the route with the start and finish on the Embarcadero. There will be road closures all around town, so traffic should be a bigger mess than usual until about mid-afternoon.
And in just a few hours, doors to the garlic capital of the world are set to open. It is the last day of the 41st Gilroy Garlic Festival. Tens of thousands are expected to stop by, maybe even sample their signature garlic ice cream.
I'm sure that's near the top of the list for many. All right, so get through this day. If you're going to the Gilroy Garlic Festival or if you are anywhere inland, it's almost as hot as yesterday. You're going to get a couple of degrees off, but we've still got a heat advisory until 11 o'clock tonight for the Tri-Valley up through Concord. Everybody else, just a relatively warm day. And the rest of the week looks great. We'll be back into the mid-80s for much of it.
All right, well, thank you for joining us.
Have a great day, and good luck to all those runners out there, including a bunch from KPIX.